All right, so I just had to do a video. I know that there's been a lot of news about hash rate recently. So in China, China's been imposing crackdowns on mining for about a month now. I think the first stories came out right around towards the end of May. So it's been about a month. And yesterday, um, one of the larger provinces actually, and actually does account for a large part of Bitcoin mining with respect to the hash power that's coming out of China, actually started shutting down their miners. So I had been seeing videos of, I think there's one other province, so two or three total, and there's videos of people shutting, these large mining operations shutting down their miners, and all this reminded me definitely of December of 2018, where you had miner capitulation. Price had gone down significantly. It was already 3,000, and you had miners because they just weren't profitable anymore at the current price, at that $3,000 price. But this is not capitulation based off of price. This is capitulation. This is basically forced capitulation. They're having to shut down their miners because the government is outlawing mining. So this actually, I think, is good for Bitcoin. There's a lot of narrative that China controls mining, so China controls the network. Well, this is all going to go because basically more than half of the hash power in China is now leaving. It's going to go to other countries. These miners are just not going to sit around. There's not a lot of, I don't see a lot of stories or a lot of research yet that has gone into where these miners are going. I know El Salvador just legalized Bitcoin as legal tender there, and a large amount, definitely better than 90% or 95% of their electricity comes from hydroelectric power, not hydroelectric. I'm sorry, volcanic, like geothermal power. So they're planning on opening up a mining facility there. How much of these Chinese miners are they gonna purchase? Or if that's even in the plans, they're gonna get miners from somewhere. They have to get them from somewhere. They can probably get them at a large discount at the moment, I would think, unless some of these Chinese miners had already been planning for this and uh, already have operations set up or ongoingly set up in different countries or different provinces. Um, and then Paraguay also reportedly is looks like they're going to pass some sort of bill next month or present a bill next month. And but they are also large hydroelectric, and miners could actually move there as well. It looks like they'll be open to that. So it's just getting the infrastructure set up. So I know there's a lot of other stories here, like this one in general. It's just like general FUD. Bitcoin may lose 30K price because stocks tank. There's going to be a lot of seeking a narrative as to why price is falling. Yeah, initially we had a lot of environmental issues. This is where Elon had posted that he was concerned and um, with its energy production. Well, a lot of where the coal mining was happening was China. All that's going offline. Uh, Given this province here was largely hydropower, a lot of the news out of China is like they're getting ready to, China's getting ready to launch their own um, central bank digital currency. So within the next year, so they're trying to get rid of all other competitors in the near term. I think this is a bad move on China's part. Uh, this hash rate is just going to move to other countries. So there's always a question: does price follow hash, or does hash follow price? And in this case, and in the current trend, if we look at hash rate, uh, right now price is following hash. So the hash rate essentially, so it peaked out here right around May, and it was like the end of May where China started cracking down on mining, right around like the last week, like the 20th. You can see there was a rebound, but now network hash rate has pretty much dropped in half. It's pretty much been cut in half. Um, but I mean, over time, you can see this is, I mean, hash rate still, let me zoom out a little bit, 3 years. Yeah, I mean, it's still high. Um, it's as high as it was back in October when price was, what was it back in October? Probably right around 20,000 if I remember correctly. Oh no, no, it went as high as 14, so it hadn't quite got there yet. November, I think it went back to 20. Yeah, so we're securing the network with more hash rate at a higher price. Uh, so that's actually efficient. Um, yes, this does. I mean, the hash rate's still high, uh, so there's no concern. But this hash rate will come back online. So when do I think Bitcoin? So I think we actually have the next difficulty adjustment is in 9 days. You can see the block time's already actually increasing due to this cut in hash rate. It's 13 minutes. Bitcoin block time on average should be around 10. It's 13. So we're already starting to see effects in the block times. Fees are low. What else? So yeah, I think the difficulty adjustment is in 9 days. Let's see, I can pull up this. Right now, the stock to flow chart is being tested for sure. This is saying, like I had talked about this before, where if we spend more than 2 to 3 weeks below the lower end of where the model is, so half of what the model is predicting, I'd be a little concerned that this model could break. Let's see, Bitcoin network analysis. Does this give me? I think this will give me. Oh, hold up. This is what I'm looking for. When's the next difficulty adjustment? It doesn't say. I'm pretty sure it's like 9 days. Let's see. Yeah, 9 days right here. Next retarget right here, 9 days and 14 hours. So I think Bitcoin is going to have enough. I think, what is that? How many more days is that? So somewhere around the end of the month. So another week and a half. So I think Bitcoin's going to have a rough next week and a half. I think there's going to be a lot of volatility, up and down. There's a lot of indicators that are kind of already extended on the oversold. We've been continually just hitting the bottom end of the RSI. Here, here, here. We're down again. We had this price fall. I did say on the video on Friday that we could go, sideways, and then within the next like 2 days, I was talking about. So here, it's a 9. We have 1 to 4 candle correction. Well, that didn't happen. We were at a green 1, and then price is now below here, 34,758. So we actually didn't have our 1 to 4 candle correction yet. We just had this is technically another red number. It's not showing it on this indicator on this version of the TD sequential, but right here you can see it. Right there, see, it's a red 1. So we haven't had the proper 1 to 4 candle correction. In the next week and a half, like I was saying, is it possible that we get a retest of this 31.13? I think it's definitely possible. I don't think price is going to. I mean, we can look at it. Let's see. Let's look at hash rate, 180 days. No, we're going to have to go like 3 years. I want to look at it in December. Can I zoom in on this? I can't really zoom in on this. I know price bottom December. What week was that? I think it was like the 5th or something like that. Let's see. The exact day. Right here. It was the 15th. So I remember all those videos coming out in the beginning of December. So 10 days later, it bottomed out about a week and a half. So I think we'll get extremely close. I mean, given if this scenario is like the, minor capitulation, the natural minor capitulation due to being not profitable with the amount, block reward based on electrical usage. So the profitability back then, miners had to shut down. The miners that are actually shutting down, they probably still are profitable, but it's a forced shutdown. So I think we're seeing, like, in the mid of a bear cycle, we're seeing forced miner capitulation. Um, so once Bitcoin has a difficulty adjustment, see, it's like, what do these miners do? Do they, if they're shutting down, do they have to sell some of their Bitcoin? Is this creating sell pressure? Um, do they have to sell some of their Bitcoin in order to move operations? Are they just offloading their profits because they're no longer going to have to mine anymore? Uh, are they going to use the? Are they you know? There's a lot of different scenarios. Are they going to sell their miners and then they're going to hodl their Bitcoin? No one really knows, but there's definitely increased selling pressure, and I'm based on just what's going on fundamentally in the space. I think it's because of that. I think some miners are being forced to sell, is creating increased sell pressure. Our CMF is telling us that we do have overall buying, but in the intermediate term, within the next week and a half, I think there's going to be increased selling. Or we're going to have, I'm not going to say increased selling. I'm not going to say price is going to tumble, but we didn't get this proper retest. So I think it's definitely possible that we go down in price. Maybe the beginning of the new week, we get back to this 31.13, and then we have a price rally that will get us. The week will close above 35,669. So, oh man, prices just, I mean, it's just going down. Our moving averages would have gotten us out weeks ago, right here, right at, you could have waited till the close. So right here, or you probably would have, or should have. So right at around 35,669, say 35,7, 35,6, you would have been out. You would have taken your profits. We're waiting. All this consolidation over the past 3 weeks, you would have not had a care in the world because you would have been out. So we'll see what happens. I don't think until we get, I mean, you can look at the hash ribbons. The hash ribbons, mining is going down. I mean, hash rate's going down. So this is going to take a while. This could take 3 to 4 months to catch up for all, like I was saying. So, so August, September, until price actually starts to, until price fully recovers and goes back to the previous all-time highs. That's one scenario. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how quickly this hash rate, this hashing power comes back online. 70 moving average is already starting going up, but it's not considering this latest, dump right here. It's still factoring in, some of this data. So until we see the raw values start to recover, I don't think we're going to see price recover. So that's the outlook. I'll do another video probably later this afternoon for the market close. If not, I'll do one in the next couple of days because I basically give my outlook. I think we could see some price bounces, some bounce in the price only because there's so much selling, and I think this is an attractive area for people who have not, or people have yet to re-enter the market. Maybe they sold and then they're looking for good opportunities to buy. You can see the CMF is just falling off the charts here. This is definitely, I mean, the RSI is starting to really become oversold. CMF is still up though. This indicates that overall there's buyers. Obviously there's more sell pressure, but there's still buyers coming in, and it's been trending up ever since we've been down here. So this is actually good. We'll see what the weekly closes out at. If it actually goes below the zero line, and if it does, I mean, that's more bearish. All more the reason to think that we're going to get back down here. I did say that it didn't necessarily have to come back down here, but this TD sequential, whenever you see nines print and they don't get properly retested with the opposite color number, they have high probabilities, I've found since I've traded it, of coming right back down eventually. This happened sooner than later. And I would rather happen now. And I mean, we have all these upper targets. So we'll see. We're watching this. I don't think we fully recover until hash until all this narrative settles down over the next week, week and a half, or at least see some price movement that can stick. We can look at the funding rates on the shorts. They're overall negative. Um, Definitely characteristic. I mean, we stayed negative here for a while, November 2008, and it didn't flip back until May. How many months is that? Let's see. First flip negative November, so 6 months. Could we be seeing that here? Yeah, so that'd be November. That's a little bit farther than my 3 to 4 months, but we'll see. Uh, we'll see what happens. Lots going on. We're on this lower end. We could see some aggressive price movement down. Like I said, based on our triple MA, where you should have been out. So if you're hodling, this doesn't matter. You're long term. You're still looking out. Especially if you bought in this beginning of this cycle. I tell a lot of people yes, you could have made a large return in a short amount of time, but if you're looking to hodl for a good amount of time, Bitcoin is truly a 5 to 8 year investment, is what I tell most people. So we'll see. That's not investment advice, but that's just what I usually say, and that's my outlook. 5 to 8 years. Whenever you start buying on a regular basis and hodling, you expect to hold for 5 or 8 years. That puts you through at least one cycle and a half, possibly 2 cycles, in order to get those large returns that historically have happened. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen again, but this is still a growing network. So see how it goes. That's the outlook. We're watching hash rate. We'll see what happens once we get that price adjustment around the 30th. I mean, not price adjustment. Once we get the hash rate, hash difficulty adjustment around the 30th. Good thing is that's not that long from now, 9 days. So we'll see. I'd really like this to close below the 6, indicating that we didn't get a proper 1 to 4 candle correction. And we'll see if we actually go back to this 30. So I do think we'll probably be stuck around this 38 and, between 40 and 30 for a while. But I do think this is, minor capitulation. This is actually going to be good for other miners because the hash rate's going down, which means when the difficulty happens, they're going to have more online hash power, which means they're going to have more probability of mining blocks, which means their profits will probably, it'll level out. Even though price has fallen, they'll still have probably close to what they were, what the returns were whenever the hash rate was high and the price was high. This, price has gone down, but it should offset given the difficulty and given the hash rate has been cut in half since the last month, about 2 months, but the hash rate is still high overall. It's not like Bitcoin's at a security risk or anything. So I think that's all I wanted to look at. We'll look at Ichimoku Cloud real quick. That's support level. If this breaks, we could go. It'd be so uncharacteristic for us to go so low without finding sustained, buying. I do see us going back down to, possibly going back down to 31, but I do think that if we did get there, the amount of buy pressure would be tremendous, and I think if we did it by next week, we could rally and go back and close above 35, which would mean proper retest, and then we'll see what happens. What are our moving averages doing? This one's kind of leveling off, but this is going to go down. This is going to cross. If you wanted to trade this 100% based off of the entry, you would probably exit. It'd give you an exit next week. So this is definitely indication of like the start of a bear. Especially with this going down, hash rate going down. It's like we're going to have a mini bear cycle in the middle of a bull cycle. This could be like I said, the next rough 3 to 4 months until price recovers. or rough, you know, 6 to 18 months where we're bearish. Uh, we get a break of 30. That's like worst case scenario. We retest all these areas. We get retest the previous all time high. But optimistically, this could be delaying the full bull cycle, and we could just be setting up for what people were talking about, you know, right around here, May, early May, was super cycle. So Bitcoin super cycle. Bitcoin goes to 300K, a million in this cycle, but we'll see. The patterns are definitely not matching the old. If you look at comparable bull markets, so if we have minor capitulation in the middle, you can see this is not characteristic of the last two cycles. So we would top somewhere around, September, where I'm talking about we might just have price recovery in September. So we're either gonna see the shortest bull cycle in history for Bitcoin, or we're gonna see a drop and then an aggressive, huge move up, all within the next 3 to 4 months. Uh, we could possibly be seeing a delayed top or a setup for a super cycle where we go through where we historically could top. We get some odd price volatility, price movement. We get the halving, um, and then it's definitely uncharted territory is what I'm trying to say. So we'll see what happens. This is uncharacteristic. A lot of FUD came out all at once, but there's a lot of good things fundamentally happening with Bitcoin. So just watch it. Price analysis. TA said we were out. We're waiting. So that's it. Thanks for watching.